Hi, and welcome to Accounting 330. Sorry I couldn't be with you guys this week, but I have some travel. I am participating in a leadership program with my company and UCLA, so I had an opportunity to work with UCLA, and hopefully I can learn some things and bring them back to you guys as well. So let's get started. Up on Campus Cruiser, you'll see the syllabus has been posted. There's SAP instructions out there. I have several PowerPoints. So there's a lot of different content. So try not to get too overwhelmed with things. I've tried to organize it in a way where you can go down, step by step within the course content. I will put some things out on the shared files too, if that's easier for you to get. I always try to post the labs and the cases out there, but and if there's any Excel files, you'll see those too. So, I use course content. I use the system. This is an information systems class, and part of it is learning how to take all the information that's out there available to you and making it work. And where do you go and get it? So, anytime you guys have a question, I check my emails several times a day. And I will get back to you within a day. So if it's something urgent, make sure you post it as urgent, and we'll go from there. Okay. But just know that I do have a full-time job. I do check it throughout the day, and I try to get back to you as quickly as possible. So that's how that works. Week one. So week one is basically this Tuesday and Thursday class. You're on your own. There's a lot of work here. There's a lot of pre-work. And you're going to be doing this and make sure that you do all your readings and you look through the PowerPoints and that sort of thing, so that we don't fall behind. When we get together on the 26th, we'll go over some of this stuff again, and we'll work through it. So I don't want you to panic. There is a lot. But it's all doable. So the first thing that I want you to do is to go out into Campus Cruiser on the discussion board and post your introductions. So you'll see my introduction is out there. Read it. It just gives a summary of who I am and what I've done and my experience. And if you could do the same, that would be great. Today we're going to we'll review the syllabus. Basically I don't have the syllabus here in this PowerPoint, but it is out there on Cruiser. But I'm going to give you an overview of what we're going to do in the course. We're going to go through this introductory PowerPoint, and then what you guys will be doing on your own is reviewing chapters 1 and chapter 2 in the Wiley book. I call it the Wiley book. We'll go through the exact title too, but we'll go through that book and go from there. So there's also a PowerPoint that I've posted out in the content for chapter 1, so I want you to review that. Wiley does a lot of SAP. This book is connected with the client that we're using, Global Bike Inc. That's the client that we'll be using in SAP. So it's nice to have a book that complements that client as well. You'll do some homework. So there's some exercises in chapter 1 on Wiley Plus, and then we're also this week you're going to be logging into SAP and doing those SAP exercises. So we're going to get right into it here. So what we'll be covering in the course, the first third of the course we're going to be spending a lot of time on SAP. We'll be doing several SAP labs, and in this one we're going to be using the book Integrated Business Processes with ERP Systems, and this is what I call the Wiley book. There is an ebook out there. There's a loose leaf book, there's a hard book, there's an ebook, so you have a lot of different choices. It's really how best you work and what you're used to using. I've put a link here for the class. This is our class number. This is where our content is. I'm not going to post the assignments in this class. You'll see an assignment tab once you get into Wiley Plus, but I'm going to keep all the assignments in Cruiser. So everything that you submit will be done in Cruiser. The only thing that you'll be submitting in Wiley Plus would be the answers to your to the exercise questions. You'll see that when you're out there. But any of the PDF files or any of the practice exercises that you do in Wiley, you're going to submit those through Campus Cruiser. So we'll be starting the first third of the course. We'll be doing all SAP labs. We'll be using this Wiley textbook and Wiley Plus. Wiley has several SAP demos, exercises, different transactions in there just to get us started and so that you can see what things look like. Just note that the exercises in Wiley, those questions, those practice questions that you answer, they're going to count towards your grade. Don't worry if you get them wrong. Go back and just double check the answer. The idea here is that you get an idea of what it is. I'm not marking you. If you got every single one wrong, I want you to go back and look at it and see if you can find the right answers. You're getting graded on your effort here. We'll also be doing several SAP labs. The first set will be 4 introductory labs, which take a good bit of time. You're just doing general transactions in that lab. The next will be our FI lab, which is our financial lab. You'll also be posting several transactions there. Then we'll be doing an expense lab where you buy a product. So you take it from the time that you buy the product to the time that you put it into production and the time that you pay the invoice to the vendor. And then our order to cash or our revenue lab will be from the time that a customer orders something to the time that they pay us. The next lab we'll be doing is a journal entry lab where we'll be setting up beginning balances in SAP, and we'll be posting entries for 1 month and then producing reports to see that we're in balance. And then the last lab that we do in SAP will be a segregation of duties lab, and that will be actually in the last third of the class. So we'll work on these labs in the class, but the labs, however, will take more time than the class allows. I will be walking around and answering your questions and helping you out with different things, but you'll be finishing up those labs outside of class. So you'll either be in the library or you'll be in the lab working on those SAPs. So don't fall behind. We're going to have some due dates here. I didn't necessarily post the due dates aren't hard and fast right now, but we'll talk about that as we move along. And but you need to be working on these labs outside of class. You won't be able to finish them up in the class time that we have allotted. So the next part of the course, part of accounting systems is QuickBooks. So that's another accounting system that's out there. And what I plan on doing is taking the expense and the revenue labs that we're doing in SAP and then turning those around and putting them into QuickBooks. So the same transactions that you enter into SAP, you'll turn around and you'll enter them into the QuickBooks system, which is on our computers here in class. So we'll do some, we'll set up a vendor, we'll set up a customer, we'll set up an order, we'll pay an invoice. And then your homework or your assignment's going to be, the project will be comparing the experience of SAP to the experience of QuickBooks and then writing a comparison of the two systems. What's similar, what was different, and if you were the decision maker, which of the two systems would you choose and why? The next third of the class will be spending on Excel. We're going to be using the Microsoft Access and Excel problem-solving cases by Monk, Brady, and Cook. The 12th edition works. If you bought the 13th edition, that's fine too. We can make that work. There's just a slightly different variation of a problem there, so that's not an issue. We're basically going to be working on 3 problems. We will be doing these in class. Again, there's not enough time in class to complete them, so you'll be doing a lot of work on your own. But the 3 are the university case, where we're setting up a worksheet and a model that helps the university decide if they're going to expand the school store or not. The next one is a Ted and Alice case, where Ted and Alice have to decide whether or not they're going to continue to rent or buy a home. And then the last one, which is the major grade, it replaces a midterm. It replaces one of the midterms. This case study, you're going to create a model for a hotel to see what's the best number of rooms to rent to a university or to sell to a timeshare, and what's the most profitable situation. So you'll create the model, you'll come up with the results, and then you're going to write a short paper with your analysis. So that will be a midterm grade. In the last third of the class, we're going to be talking about segregation of duties and system internal controls. We'll be working with a special textbook that we created by McGraw and Hill. I put the 2 ISBN numbers that are in my book on this particular PowerPoint. And the book's called AIS Widener ACC330. The book should also be in the bookstore, but just in case it isn't, you have the ISBN numbers here. There's also a case study that you can access and purchase via the HBR course pack. I've put that link here as well. That's just a small case study, Trinity case, and it has to do with segregation of duties. You'll be working this case study as a group project, so you will see out on Campus Cruiser, there's an Excel file out there that gives you your SAP logons, and then the second tab gives the group assignments. So those groups have already been assigned. You can start working on that project now. You can, you figure out your timing, but the project will be due on April 26th. So you'll be reviewing the case. The project definition or the group project definition is out there in Campus Cruiser as well. And you take a look at that, and you guys will put together your analysis of the course, of the case, and then you'll submit your paper. So the last third of the class is going to be mostly lectures and PowerPoints, but a lot of discussion. So class participation is very, very important in discussing. So when we're asking you to read things, I want you to read them in advance so that you can come prepared with discussion and any real life questions or observations or experience that you've had when you're working your different internships, etc. All the assignments will consist of questions that I give you at the end of class, and then you'll prepare your responses accordingly. So again, segregation of duties continued. So the assignments are going to be the group project by the Trinity case, and then a segregation of duties lab in the SAP lab. So those will be the two main assignments in that last third of the class. So we will have one midterm. It will be a one midterm exam and one final. I usually have those midterms and finals done online, and they're open book online. But those midterms and finals are not group projects. You don't want you to do your own independent work. They will be timed, and you'll have 1 or 2 times to go through and to complete those midterms and finals. I've built 2 weeks into the end of the class just in case we need more time or to complete labs. Sometimes, there's a lot of questions with the labs, or if we run into technical difficulties, etc. I like having those 2 weeks. If we stay on track, we'll use those 2 weeks to do some additional reporting and to play around with some additional, say, Excel pivot tables and Solver and that sort of thing. So, but if we, fall behind and we need those 2 weeks, they're there. So if you look at those last couple of weeks on the syllabus, you'll see that there's not a lot of meat to them right now. So again, the schedule that I have outlined in the syllabus is subject to change as we work through the content, but it's a general overview of the course and how I have it outlined as we do now. So we can discuss more on Tuesday. This should say the 26th, not the 23rd, when we meet in person. And if you have any pressing questions or issues, please email me. So grading, the midterm and the Excel case study on the hotel will be 20%. Our SAP and Excel labs will be 20% of your grade. The group project, you can see, is weighted pretty heavy. That segregation of duties, that's going to be 20% of your grade. And then attendance, participation, homework quizzes, and the Wiley Plus, that will be 20%. Again, participation is very, very important. We're going to learn more by going back and forth and having good discussions and sharing experiences, and etc. So, make sure that you come prepared to class and you're ready to participate. So what is accounting information systems? It's a collection of data stored in electronic databases. People could have an accounting system. They're just starting out in business. They might have manual ledgers. They might just use their checkbook, and that's their accounting system. They're recording all of their accounting and financial transactions there. As they get a little bit larger, they might move to Excel and decide that they're going to use a bunch of Excel worksheets. Still very manual and not very controlled. There's downsides to all of these things. And then maybe they get a little bit bigger and they start to have a lot more customers, and they may move into QuickBooks. So we'll take a look at QuickBooks in this course. And then if they become really large, like your Boeings, your DuPonts, some of your major insurance companies will be using the SAP platform. SAP is can have several hundred legal entities and do consolidation and reporting. So we'll get a view of all of that in SAP. There's some other systems out there. You have PeopleSoft, you have Great Plains. They're just different types of software that you could encounter when you get out there. I think Oracle as well, when you get out there into the workforce. So the Wiley book, we talked about a little bit in the beginning. There's a hard copy, an ebook, a loose leaf book. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But you will need to get access to Wiley Plus so you can see what the demos and the exercises and the SAP practices. I'm attaching some slides here for what Wiley Plus looks like when I log on. So let's get to that. So when I go into Wiley Plus, this is the logon screen that I see. I basically put my logon ID and my password. They're probably going to ask you to register. Right here, students register for a new class. This is what the screen looks like after I log in. Your screen, this is our class ID, and I also posted a PDF file in Cruiser to help you set up Wiley Plus. I would recommend, if you have any questions or if you have any issues with Wiley Plus, I believe that there's a help desk or a phone number technology, a phone number out there that they can help you with. Again, our class ID is 486221. This is the screen that you might see. This is the student view.